Hello, I'm in St. Hilaire, and in this video we're going to take a look at how to build and upload a custom web application inside Intel AMT 11 and above. So if you guys don't know, normally when you take a web browser and you go to an IP address of an AMT machine, port 6992 or 6993 if you use HTTPS, and you log in, you see the Intel AMT web page. Now, this is the web page that's been there for years, and you can do a couple of things. But if you want, you can enhance this web page by replacing it entirely with a new one. So in MeshCommander, if you didn't know this, you see the storage tab appear when you connect to an AMT 11 machine. You can click Upload Application, upload a MeshCommander large file. It will push it as an alternative index.htm. And now when you hit refresh on this AMT machine, instead of seeing the default web page, you're now served this web application that has, the remote desktop, and you can do full remote desktop and stuff, all inside the firmware. So just with a browser and this web app that's loaded inside the firmware, you can now manage Intel AMT. So this is really powerful. But what if I want to customize this web application? I want to build my own. And the easiest is to take MeshCommander and just tweak it yourself. For example, if you want to add or remove features, or you want to brand it the way you want, I'll show you how to do that right now. And by the way, it's completely open source, so if you guys want to rebrand MeshCommander with your own company logo or something, you're totally allowed to do that, perfectly fine. So what you do is you go on meshcommander.com, you download, you click on MeshCommander, of course. If you haven't installed MeshCommander, of course, install it. That's the first requirement, and try this first. Now, second of all, download the MeshCommander source and samples here, that second link. Once you download this, you will get this folder. And inside this folder, there's two major things we're going to take a look at. Of course, MeshCommander itself, which is the source code to compiling MeshCommander, and the website compiler right here. The website compiler is a tool, and I'm going to go inside website compiler, bin, debug, and I'm going to run websitecompiler.exe. This tool takes the source code of MeshCommander, selectively picks what part of the source code you want to keep, and then compacts the resulting source code into a gunzip. So it minifies the HTML, it compresses the JavaScript, compresses the CSS, the style sheets, makes it one big single file that's as compressed as possible, and then it gunzips the output and spits out a gunzip file. And that gunzip file you can upload inside the firmware, and it will work. So, by the way, if you go inside MeshCommander, you'll notice that MeshCommander has these three firmware files, the MeshCommander large, medium, and small. And so what you can do is add your own. For example, here I added the abc.large. But if you have your own thing at the end, your own company branded MeshCommander, then you can just put the file here and do the upload like I've done right there, and you'll see the new file pop up, and you'll be able to upload it. So that's one way to do it. Okay, so now how do we create these files? Well, what you do is inside the MeshCommander folder, there's a couple of .wcc files. These are the website compiler files. And so there's one for the firmware, and there's one for different usages. For example, the Node WebKit app or so on. But the firmware one is the one that we're going to take a look at today. And by the way, if obviously before doing this, you want to edit the source code, you go into source and you take a look at this. You go and change the images the way you want. You fix up the files the way you like it. And of course, the main file is index.htm right here. There's also a Visual Studio project file or solution file right there. You can double click on it, and that will open up the source code to the website, and you can start editing the website right there. So I won't go into this, But obviously index.html is the first one you would probably go in and fix up. And then there's CSS files, there's so on. Most of the time, these JavaScript ones you probably don't want to touch. They have to do with Wizman and redirection and so on. So these you don't touch. But the index.html and also the styles dash commander right here, this is another one you would change quite a bit to tailor. And by the way, inside the index.html, you'll notice that the HTML has all these codes, and this basically tells the website compiler that this part of the source code is only kept if this tag is selected. And you'll see what I mean here in a minute. So back to website compiler. The first thing I'm going to do is open this file. I'm going to say file, open the firmware file. And just so you know what this does, it will take the source code, MeshCommander source, essentially index.html and everything it references. It will pack it up and it will spit out a meshcommander.gz gunzip. And by the way, if you look at the second tab, there's 3 different outputs. Large, medium, and small. So actually, it will spit out 3 files: MeshCommander dash small dash medium and dash large for when you click generate right here. So the second tab here shows the features. This is the list of tags to keep. Basically, get rid of everything else in the source code except code that is for these specific tags. So, for example, small, there's only these tags. Medium, there's a little bit more. And large, there's more. And so what you can do is right-click on large, and you can, for example, edit which tag you want. So if you want to add or remove features inside your website, you can easily do that. So if you want to remove the Wizman browser, just uncheck this, click OK, and a large version of the firmware gunzip will not have that anymore. Okay, so once you've picked all the features here and you've selected this, you hit generate, and it will take a while here, but it will, and I'm going to go inside the target folder here. What it will do is it will run through the entire pipeline, grab the code, filter it, minify it, and compress it, and then you see the output here, the 3 files I've just outputted. And so what you do is you take those 3 files, one of the 3 files, and you push it inside the firmware. You can use MeshCommander to do that. You can use other tools. I'll probably be coming out with other tools, small command line tools or things that push these files. So I hope this was helpful. Very quick overview as to how to build a firmware image of MeshCommander, and so you could easily build your own, brand it the way you want, and put inside the firmware. Thank you very much. Hope it's helpful.